Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. And let's get into it. So, the 1990-91 Dallas Mavericks looked to be a team ready to challenge for a NBA championship, okay? They went 47-35 the previous year and made the playoffs, lost to the Portland Trailblazers in 3 straight games in the first round. And so by the time the 1991 season started, there were only 2 teams in the East that were really competing for a championship every year. It was Detroit and Chicago in the East. That's it. But in the West, you had Portland, Lakers, and the Phoenix Suns, who had made the Western Conference Finals in 1990. And the Dallas Mavericks looked to join that group. They acquired Fat Lever, who was a all-star in 1990. 18 points per game. So they acquired Fat Lever. They got Rodney McCray from Sacramento. And they also signed Alex English from Denver as well. So they signed 2 Denver players. So you have those 3 players to go along with Rolando Blackman, Derek Harper, Roy Tarpley, and you have some solid bench guys like Randy White and Steve Alford. So you add Fat Lever, McCray, and Alex English to these veterans, including James Donaldson and Herb Williams. You add these 3 players to this veteran lace team that made the playoffs a year before, looked to challenge the top teams in the Western Conference, even the Bulls and the Pistons in the East. So they actually got off to a 4-1 start, but there were 2 injuries that derailed their whole season. After getting off to a 4-1 start, Lever injured his knee in the 4th game of the year, and he was out for the year. Tarpley tore his ACL and was out for the year. Not only that, he failed a drug test as well and was banned for the next 3 years. Okay. And so after starting off the season 4-1, Tarpley was averaging about 20 points and 11 rebounds per game before the injury. And like I said, he was banned for life, and the Mavericks ended up finishing 28-54 that year. And needless to say, were not able to compete with the Lakers, the Trailblazers, or the Suns in the Western Conference. Speaking of Roy Tarpley, he was one of the best players in the 86 draft, come out of the 86 draft, okay? And Brad Davis, who was a longtime Dallas Maverick from the start in 1980, Brad Davis said if Roy Tarpley could have stayed healthy his entire career, he would have been a top 50 player of all time. That's what Brad Davis said. That's how good Roy Tarpley was, okay? So he averaged 16 points and 9 rebounds in his final 3 seasons at Michigan. Then he was drafted by Dallas, 7th overall in 86. And the thing that the 86 draft had was William Bedford, who was the 6th overall pick before Tarpley, had drug issues his entire career. Len Bias, 2nd overall pick. Obviously, we all know what happened to him. And Chris Washburn, who was taken 8th overall, had substance abuse issues and was banned for life in 1989. Okay, but Tarpley played 6 years, averaged about 12 points and 10 rebounds per game. Okay, he was the 6th man of the year in 1987-88 after averaging 13.5 points per game. And he said himself, he said, celebrity, money, and fame put his decision-making all out of whack. And he was actually undergoing treatment during the 87-88 season for drug rehab. And he was the 6th man of the year, as I just said moments ago. So 1987-88 was really special for Tarpley. He even spoke to the 87-88 rookie class. So he spoke to guys like Horace Grant. He spoke to guys like Scottie Pippen about drugs and temptation. One of his main points was just to work hard, play ball, and don't get caught up in going out and drugs and all that, because it'll completely wreck your life and destroy your NBA career. So he had a couple of DWI arrests. In 1989, he played in only 19 games in 1989. And he actually had a DWI arrest early in the 89-90 season. Okay. And he missed a large chunk of that. And he was suspended for 6 games. He was also had some injuries, but he played in 45 games for the 1989-90 season. He played in 45 games that year and still averaged about 16 points a game. Then in 90-91, he had a second DWI on top of tearing his ACL. And then he failed another drug test, which got him banned for 1992, 1993, and 1994. And he was reinstated in September of 1994. Okay. He was reinstated, so he was joining a Dallas Mavericks team that now featured Dick Motta as the coach, who had returned as head coach. You had a young Jason Kidd, a young Jamal Mashburn, a young Jim Jackson, and you had an up-and-coming Maverick team. Had some bench guys like Lucius Harris and Tony Dumas and Scott Brooks and the veteran Scott Brooks. So he was a solid backup center for 1994-1995. He was reinstated at age 29, and he averaged about 12 points coming off the bench for the Mavericks. But he failed another test for alcohol and violating the terms of the court-imposed aftercare program. And then he was banned for life in 1995. So that was the end of his NBA career at age 30. That was the end of Roy Tarpley's NBA career at age 30. And he ended up suing the Dallas Mavericks in 2007. And he also sued the NBA claiming that they had discriminated against him since he was a recovering drug and alcohol addict. So he claimed that the NBA and the Dallas Mavericks discriminated against him for that. And it was settled in 2009. The case was settled in 2009. Terms were not disclosed, and he tragically passed away only at the age of 50. So Roy Tarpley was only 50 years old when he passed away from, I believe, liver failure. Okay. So he passed away from liver failure at age 50, which was way too young to pass away. I mentioned William Bedford as well. William Bedford actually admitted that he really didn't even like basketball. William Bedford actually hated basketball, and he was there because he was tall, 6'9", had a very solid career at Memphis State, had a great career at Memphis State, if you will, and played with guys like Keith Lee, and played for Coach Dana Kirk on the Tigers team that went all the way to the Final Four in 1985. And William Bedford was the 6th pick before Tarpley went 7th. And actually spent his rookie year with the Phoenix Suns. Was traded to Detroit in the summer of 87. Missed all of 1989 because he was in drug rehab. And came back in 1990. And believe it or not, the Pistons were kind of weary of what he was doing. And so, believe it or not, the Pistons actually began keeping an eye on him off the basketball court, believe it or not. So the Pistons were keeping an eye on him off the basketball court. And so he spent 4 years with the Pistons, 88, sat out 89, 88, 90, 91, 92. NBA champion with the Pistons in 1990. Averaged 4 points per game with the Pistons. Traded to the Clippers in 1992. In turn, he was traded to the San Antonio Spurs. Played a few games with the Spurs. And then his NBA career was over after that. After 92-93 season. And he actually went into jail in Texas for about 10 years. Got out. And now he's doing well. Went to jail for 10 years, got out, is doing well. I believe he has a book out about his past experiences, his NBA career. Actually did an interview on Vlad TV as well. I haven't watched that, but I will. But I will watch that Vlad TV interview. So yeah, it's really tragic about the '86 draft that Len Bias, Chris Washburn, William Bedford, and Roy Tarpley all struggled with drug addiction, and even went to two of them, Len Bias and Roy Tarpley, went to a early grave because of drugs. And it's just sad. It's just sad about the '86 draft class that quite a few people struggle with drug addiction. So I would say Roy Tarpley was the best of these four. Of the four, I mentioned Roy Tarpley was the best. He played the most years, played 6 years William Bedford played 6 years, but was never really productive. Len Bias tragically never got a chance to play. Chris Washburn, who knows what he did. So yeah, it's just tragic. The 86 draft class, especially at the top in the first 10 picks. You had guys who struggle with drug abuse and alcohol. So, yeah. All right. That's it for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am out of here. God bless you all. Peace out. Go Cat. Cowboys.